Good evening, it's Thursday night, it's 8 o'clock, and it's the Big Metal Detecting Podcast.
Welcome to the Big Metal Detecting Podcast.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Big Metal Detecting Podcast. A very, very, very special evening tonight. We're trialling several things, but mainly it's we're being a platform tonight for the National Council for Metal Detecting, who will speak to John Rigby, the membership secretary, shortly. Tonight we are, as I say, being a platform. The NCMD will be conducting via ourselves a Christmas raffle for members only of the National Council for Metal Detecting. They've got 10 metal detectors, which I said John will tell you all about very, very shortly. And throughout the show, the 10 names will be revealed via John's system, which he's got set up. We're also joined tonight by my good friend and confidant, Mr. Luke Higgins, my co-editor of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine. So welcome, Luke. It's fantastic to finally have you here.
I have been on before, Dave.
Yes,
once,
but you know, you were stood in a field with me at bloody Rodney Cook Memorial Rally and Detectables. So
absolutely, and in the pub, I was in the pub with my pal Jared. Actually, I think the night before Rodney Cook as well, wasn't it?
You were just after your car had died and nearly gone to car heaven.
Don't remind me. Yeah, absolutely.
First and foremost, I'd like to welcome all new listeners tonight. There's a lot of people obviously interested in this via the National Council for Metal Detecting Facebook page. Thank you to everybody who's shared the word around tonight for the last week or so, telling everybody of what's taking place tonight. Welcome to all new listeners. We're every Thursday from 8 o'clock. We have different guests every week. On the Spreaker platform, which is the main platform, you'll be able to find all past editions of the show on there, on Spotify, on iTunes, and many, many, many other different platforms that you can listen to different podcasts on. So please have a listen back. I'm sure there'll be one or two you like. We do have this, I say, every week. The only day we won't be live will be Boxing Day, where we're going to be doing a pre-recorded year in review. That's myself and Luke and several other guests, including at the moment Scotty B and Mr. Addicted to Bleeps. So, first and foremost, again, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Luke, and good evening, Mr. John Rigby. How are you?
All right, thank you. How are you, Dave?
Marvellous. It's great to have you here, John. John, can you tell the listeners a little bit about what's happening tonight and why we're doing this show as we are?
Yes, well, a lot of people don't know really that this year will be the NCMD's 40th anniversary. So this was one of the things that we said we were going to do. We had a committee meeting and decided that to give away as a Christmas present to our members 10 metal detectors. 5 of those will be Orcs metal detectors, and the other 5 will be the Equinox. We are also we've actually purchased some sew-on patches that every member next year, when they join or rejoin, they will get the sew-on patch with every membership. So it's a big year for us. Hopefully we'll be doing even more than this, but as I say, this is the first part of it, and we thought we'd do it before Christmas so that somebody will get a nice Christmas present.
Brilliant. And obviously everything that you do in the future, anything that people you request people to let them know about things, will come directly via ourselves as well. We're going to help out as much as we can with promotion for, well, the future of the National Council for Metal Detecting. So I'll want to let you disappear for a moment, John. I'll speak to you in 5 minutes or so, and you can start with your first name, if that's okay.
Yeah, can I just add to that? I'm doing the draw from a database. So the information on that database falls under the GDPR. So all I will do is I will give the name of the person who's won the detector. Even if they're not listening, they will be contacted tomorrow morning by myself.
Brilliant. And obviously, as we've said, you'll be finding the numbers. The numbers won't be mentioned. It'll be directly the people who have won the prize, and then obviously everybody can cheer and go and do Christmassy things.
That's it. Yeah, as
Brilliant.
I say, it is hard with a database, as you know. I use random generator, a number generator, and the thing is, I can't give too much information out. I don't want to give card number and name because that can be used.
Totally understandable, John. No problem whatsoever. I think we lost Luke, but he's just rang back in. Luke, are you with me?
I'm back, Dave. Yeah, you got me.
Brilliant. John, you still here? You haven't cut you off, have you? John seems to have been cut off. Let me just ring John back in as well. It's the first time we've had 3 guests on, so John should be with me any minute. We're calling him now, and he will be there any second. Luke, you've been busy?
Always, Dave.
Always.
Working in retail.
Yeah.
Can't say who, but yeah, always.
Brilliant.
Please don't mention company, chaps.
John's back with us now, so it seemed when you rang back it must have knocked John off, but we're back all together now anyway. So, metal detecting, as I say, John's got to disappear now. We'll give John a shout shortly for the winner of the first machine, if that's okay, John.
Yes. Also, while you've been doing it, I've done a random generated as to which way around the metal detector is going to be given. So the first one will be an aux, second one equinox, aux, equinox, all the way down.
Excellent. That's fantastic, John. Sure appreciate that. So you go away, John, do your first one, and we'll be back with you very, very shortly.
Okay, thank you very much.
Excellent. So, Luke, obviously we've got a lot of new people who are listening to the show for the first time tonight, and obviously a lot of people who don't so much need reminders, but I'm sure people want to know a little bit more, from yourself about the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, which is our primary concern. Obviously, this is a byproduct of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, but I'll let you tell people a little bit about the magazine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I've been, how long have I been with you now, Dave? 2.5 years, something like that.
That's about
on the
right,
Archaeology
yeah.
and Metal Detecting magazine. Yeah, around about 2.5 years. So basically the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, there's a lot of people listening will know, but the idea of the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, which was started by Dave, was to essentially pool any relevant or newsworthy stories or articles from the genres of archaeology and metal detecting into one place. So it's kind of a one-stop shop, essentially. And it was clearly a good idea, Dave, because it's taken off a bit in in recent, particularly the last sort of 18 months, really, isn't it? Year and a half, 18 months.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been good. It's been a good journey, and we've kind of got ourselves to a stage now where, as well as having, as well as keeping people up to date on, third party news sources, we're also getting quite a lot of our own articles come through now as well, which is great.
We have, yeah.
It's obviously fantastic. A lot of people to thank for that. Too many to, I don't want to start mentioning names because I'll forget some. But those people, they know who they are that have supported us on the journey that we've been through so far.
Mm-hmm. We have, and obviously at the end of the show, we've got a list of people that we usually thank for their inputs and assistance over over all the time that we've been doing things as well. So we'll give mentions out later on, obviously. John, have you got a first name at all yet?
I have, yes. And the first the first draw was done, and it came up with a number, which I can't give you, of course, but the chap that owns that number is a Mr. David Owen.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sadler then.
Near,
So-
wasn't it?
Congratulations, that's David Owen who's won the first prize. And did you say that was an ORX, John?
That's the ORX, yeah.
Excellent. So the first winner from the National Council for Metal Detecting Christmas Prize draw is David Owen, who's won an ORX. So congratulations to he. So we'll be back to you shortly, John.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Yes, we've been through a lot of ups and downs, haven't we, Luke? The magazine, it's evolved. It's obviously evolved into this podcast via doing the All Metal Mode UK podcast with Mike Hare. We've covered, obviously, Detectable last year and this year. We've covered the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally this year, and obviously both, plus the Spring Detectable, we are taking part in again next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a really, really exciting one next year. I mean, I think we're certainly, a lot of it's been learning from our mistakes, but I think in 2020 we're going to be in the right places. I've just seen David Owen. As long as there's not more than one person that has the name David Owen in the NCMD, then David Owen is actually listening. He's just commented on the Facebook feed. He's just said, fantastic, thank you, with a couple of smiley faces.
That's brilliant.
So hopefully that is the right David Owen. I think John will have to confirm if there's more than one, which there is a possibility, isn't there, I guess, in the NCMD. But I'm sure it is you, David.
Let's hope so. Well done, David Owen. Whichever one it is.
Absolutely, yeah. That's
Now, what a lot of people don't realise that we actually do is that we started last year at Detectable. We published our first ever paper version of the magazine, which via advertising we were able to give away for free last year. And this year, we upped our game. Yourself edited it absolutely fantastic, made it look phenomenal for my eyes, and we were able to give we've done 3 copies this year, wasn't it? Yes, it was 3 copies last year, Luke.
yeah, sorry, I lost you for a second there, Dave. Yes, it was. I actually have, believe it or not, I've got 2 copies here. So I've got issue 4, which was the one with our good friend Addicted Leaps on the front. I'm just showing that to the big cast watchers. And I've also got the Detectable copy here. So these were available free at obviously at the big rallies, but also at several smaller rallies around the UK as well. So being truthful, we've got I think about 70 copies of the Detectable one left, around about 20 or 30 of issue 4. But do you know, I haven't even got a Rodney Cook edition myself. I don't know if you've got any, Dave, but I haven't even got an actual paper copy of that.
Got the one with Addicted to Bleeps on the front is the only one I've got left.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only one I've got. I've got a couple of put to the side. Well, I've got one that I've kept for obviously myself because, hey, I need a copy at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So other than that, no, we completely out the Rodney Cook ones. The Detectable event, what would they call Mine Lab, who promoted the event, they'd obviously printed one via us for the event, and we were able to give that in the bag to the everybody who came to Detectable, which was great as well.
Yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, there was really, with regards to the magazine, we had some real good help, from a few different people. Obviously, Rutus, Pete Terrell, who's always been a really, really good supporter of us. I've just lost the video feed actually here. Pete Terrell, who's always been a really, really good supporter of us. Who else do we have? Gary Blackwell, over at XP, he's always been fantastic. And of course, Gary Cook as well.
Yeah, absolutely,
for letting us in.
And the Treasure Hunting magazine, Dan and Julian have been absolutely phenomenal help, and there's nothing we wouldn't do for Treasure Hunting magazine because they've helped us immensely as well.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's been it's been great. And I mean, next year we now have confirmed 4 copies, a minimum of 4, so that will probably be more likely 5. We have a major new entity, which we can't reveal at the moment, but it's a major new entity that is also going to be actively involved in what we're doing. So obviously that's going to be brilliant. That's going to be a game changer in a lot of ways. And we also have commitment from the guys that have been backing us since day one. So we're in a really, really, really good place. And again, can't reveal too many details at the moment, but we are going to be able to distribute in other ways next year, other than just at rallies. So if you're not a detectorist that attends rallies regularly, there's still a good chance that you will be able to get your hand on a paper copy.
Yes, as well as we have to give mention to the sources who also have distributed the magazines for us, like Find a Field, Scotty B at North of Time Metal Detecting, who himself will be launching the group's first big metal detecting rally next year in the north of the UK. We also have to thank Tom Pezerick. Who else? Obviously, Mark Beecher, Metal Detectives, but there's more than that, Luke. You'll have to prompt me on the name of them.
Oh, Dave, I mean, I could flick open one of the magazines and go through. It's Dilek Gonulay, Wyola and Arick, Gary Blackwell, Gary Smith.
Where they've been distributed and where.
Distributing. Yeah. We've had obviously North of the Tyne, the Metal Detectives. We do have some of it we kind of can't mention at the moment, but we do have a major entity that we are hoping will be posting copies of our magazine out as well. Whether they will do, but as I say, that will all be announced in January. In the new year. I think I've just got the vidcast back now, so I apologise to anyone that is watching on that. I did say at the beginning it is a kind of a bit of a test period.
Yeah, you actually only rang me at 6:30 to say, Dave, we could do it.
I knew I should.
Anyway, back to John. John, have you got name number 2, please?
Yes, but before I give out name number 2, I'd just like to point out there was 4 David Owens on my database. I went through it straight after I heard you say. So what I can say is the David Owen that has won the first detector is in Scotland.
Well, congratulations, Scotland, David Owen. And apologies to any other David Owens out there unfortunately...
John Rigby, who's on the podcast but you can't hear, has just said that the David Owen that won is a David Owen in Scotland. There is 4 David Owens on the NCMD database.
Marvellous. So apologies for any confusion there. John, have you got the second name, please?
Right, the second name, which is an Equinox, is going to Mark Fawkes.
Mark
That's
Fawkes.
Fawkes.
So the second winner, which is for the Equinox 800, is Mark Fawkes. So congratulations to Mark.
Guys, the David Owen that we've got listening to the vidcast is the right David Owen.
Excellent. Well done, David.
Well done, mate. Well done. Congratulations. And well done from John. I know you can't hear John on the vidcast, but well done from John as well.
And it's nice to actually have somebody who's listening to the show to actually be able to hear that being drawn as well. So that's fantastic. John, we'll be back to you very shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Marvellous. Isn't he so polite, Luke?
John is, isn't he? Classic English gentleman.
He is. He's a Blackpool fan, but we forgive him for that. But then again, he is northern and not a southern softy. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Got the video on
that. Did you get the email through from Seascope this morning, Dave?
No, I haven't. Unfortunately, I've not been able to look. I'm a bit busy at work at the moment, and it's obviously I've got home from work Been in a conference call with yourself and then show, so I've not been able to. So tell me about that.
I'm just gonna try and find it now because it's got quite a lot of detail that I wasn't aware of regarding the new machine. But if you can just talk for 2 minutes, Dave, I'm sure you can find something to talk about. Then I'll pull that email up and we can run through that because I think it'd be quite interesting. It's certainly things I didn't know. Until I received that email about the new machine. I've got it here actually, Dave. I think so.
Right, yeah. We're all very busy at the moment. One of the shows that we're doing on the 26th will be a pre-recorded show, which will be a year in review. I'm actually sitting down and researching what we need to talk about because we're going to be basically looking at hoards that have been discovered in the UK over the past year, and obviously we've had Scotty B, who's been privy to several. Mr. Addicted to Beeps, Chris Rogers, he's got one himself. So we're looking forward to that. Excellent show for the future. And then we're looking at January for next year. We've already got several people lined up for January. We haven't got the dates set in stone as yet. Next week's guest will be Mr. Aaron Weedle, South Coast Detector in. And hopefully he brings a friend with him. I've not asked him yet, but I'm hoping Aaron brings a friend with him. And I'm sure he'll know what I'm on about.
Okay, I've got this. Shall I read through this quickly before John comes back? So it's an email from Seascope with regards to the Evo 6000. Hopefully the vidcast viewers will be able to see it as well. So it says from Seascope, hello there. As we edge towards the end of 2019, we thought it would be a good time to share with you, good people, some news on our new microprocessor-driven detector, the Evo 6000. The product is due for launch in spring 2020, and we are very excited about how the testing and development process is progressing. We have been really happy with the lightning response and powerful performance of the Evo 6000. The Evo 6000 is delivering, and we feel we could tweak it further. The build quality is what you expect from a C-scope, and the balance makes the detector a joy to use. The Evo will have a huge LCD screen which features a really neat and intuitive menu. It delivers amazing levels of flexibility whilst remaining simple to use. And the display shows a clever, always visible configuration, so you can see on screen at a glance how the detector is set up. And I must admit, just going off the C-scope script, I was quite impressed by that detectable, Dave. Do you remember on the screen it showed you literally every setting? It's the biggest screen I've seen on the detector.
Yeah, and as I mentioned, it was perfect for me. Me getting old and my eyesight going. I'm only 46, but for me it was a perfect sized pad to see what's going on, and it was well balanced and everything. It was a jolly good machine.
It didn't look like a C-scope, in all honesty. Not as you'd expect, So, and it goes on to say 4 clock face dials show discrimination, sensitivity, iron volume, and disk volume levels at all times without having to refer back to the menu. So, I mean, that's, I think that's all really, really good. Selection of preset modes, including inland, beach, and all metal. And you can make up to 10 further configurations of your own. So the Evo 6000 can be switched between motion and non-motion modes. And it's basically just saying we'll be back in touch with more info in the new year. And I'm sure if we pick up with the guys at Seascope, we could get them onto this podcast and vidcast sometime soon, just to talk about where they are at the moment with the Evo 6000.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, I've actually asked Martin Bass to come on in the new year and obviously give updates and whatnot. So, greatly looking forward to that. And incidentally, we'll be playing a song at the end of the show, which was made by one of the guests we had on a couple of weeks ago, Ian Churchward from the legendary 10 Seconds. And he got so excited by the show and being a part of it and talking about the history, metal detecting and his music and such like, because his band's actually a medieval, not a reenactment, but making modern day music in a medieval style. As I say, you'll hear at the end of the show one of their songs, and he's actually wrote a song based on something I sent him about my introduction to metal detecting, which was via a C-Scope 600 series back in the 1970s, and the song is very, very Seascope heavy. So Martin's actually looking forward to hearing that himself.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
Excellent.
Did you say they're making a Dave Sadler song as well, Dave? Didn't you?
No, it's a song. One of the articles that we had published by myself was about how I got into archaeology and metal detecting, and we were talking about people's how they got into metal detecting. So I sent him over that story. A couple of other people have sent him theirs, so he can write a story based on each individual's background. And basically, it's about me and Seascope, which is nice.
Okay.
So, anyway, back over to John. John, have you got winner number 3, please?
Yes, and good luck to everybody. But the winner of Another Orcs is Mrs. Chloe Riley.
So the winner of the Orcs is Miss Chloe Riley.
Mrs. Chloe Riley.
Sorry, Mrs. Chloe Riley. So congratulations, Chloe. Hope you're listening. If not, you will be notified via John and the NCMD in the coming days. Thanks, John. Back to you in a moment.
Right, thank you.
And obviously, anyone listening, if you can share that name around, so if she's not listening, we can find her. It'd really be great if we could find as many of these people whilst the show's going on as possible. So post it to your local Facebook groups, and let's see if we can find these people, because they're all detectorists. So chances are they'll be on some groups that we are on.
And talking about them being detectorists is the community, and what a community that metal detecting community is. So I'm sure, things that I've been associated with in the past few years has led me to, there's nowhere I'd rather be than the metal detecting community. I've made some great friends, even though, like Luke lives down near Eastbourne. I live in Congleton, northwest Cheshire. So the friends that we make via this fantastic hobby, Luke.
Yeah, it is. It is technology and the hobby, isn't it? I think, much as we all moan about Facebook, and I moan about Facebook constantly, and the rules is an awful. What we're able to do now, isn't it? Thanks to YouTube, but the hobby is fantastic, and I think it has it's bizarre really, because for a hobby that is really quite back to basics, getting out in the nature and getting out in the fields, we're really kind of I think he's got a really strong online presence, but particularly on Facebook.
Massive, absolutely massive, and obviously, as you say as well, YouTube. There must be so many people who are using Facebook who are more or less new to the hobby, who have watched videos of Chris Rogers, of Digger Dawn, etc., and been introduced to the hobby via that. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things we've actually done in my group, it's a relatively small group, Southeast Metal Detecting Rallies. We and this is potentially an idea that other people around the country may want to consider, but we actually both have some sort of metal detecting experience stage, for people that maybe aren't currently involved, and the response we've had to that has been an unbelievable response, which just shows the amount of people out there that want to be involved in the hobby but don't know how to get into it. And as soon as you give them an avenue and you give them a way of getting into the hobby, there's a lot of interest. And I've got no doubt YouTube, as well as all the hordes and things that have come up as well, of course, but I've got no doubt that, YouTube and people like Digger Dawn, Addicted to Bleeps, that's, and they're the YouTubers, without mentioning other names, they're the ones that represent the hobby in a really positive light. And I think all of these types of things have all kind of come together and made the hobby. I mean, who would have thought, certainly even probably 6 years ago, that the hobby would have ever got to the size it's at now. I don't think anybody would have even hazarded a guess at how popular the hobby was going to become.
Absolutely. And of course, you also have to thank the Detectorist TV program for that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we know that, Dave, don't we? You know, from the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, the biggest periods of time we have of people, logging into Google and searching metal detecting is when that TV series is on, and we can see in our analytics. You know, we hold good numbers all year round, but if say for example, Detectorists was to come out with a season 4, the Archaeology and Metal Detector magazine would absolutely fly again, because it just drives so much interest in the hobby. It really does.
It does, yeah. Over to John again. John, have you got number 4 for us?
I have, yes. This, of course, is for the next Equinox 800, and the name that's come out is Steve Clifford. Now, I have checked the database. There is only one Steve Clifford on our database, so if you're that Steve Clifford, you've won an Equinox.
Do you want to follow up on that, Luke?
Yeah, Steve. So for the vidcast listeners, Steve Clifford. And there is only one Steve Clifford on the database. So if your name is Steve Clifford and you are a member of the National Council for Metal Detecting, then you have just won yourself a metal detector.
Congratulations, that man. Steve Clifford. That's 4 down and 6 to go. So, hey, we're doing well.
Dave, we do have a lady just in the vidcast feed, Susanna Johnson, who is asking who are the first 2 winners. Can we remember the names?
Yeah, I've got everything written down. So the first winner was David Owen, who won an Orcs. The second winner was Mark Fawkes, who won a Knox. Chloe Riley won an Orcs, and Steve Clifford won a Knox. So there's your update on that. Now, we've mentioned the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine, Luke, and how it became, etc., etc. For those of you who don't know, the website for that is www.archmdmag.com, and basically on the website there's links to everything that we do, the big podcast, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. Plus there's numerous people that and organisations, etc., that we work alongside or have worked alongside in the past. We have multiple articles on there from archaeology, obviously, metal detecting, historical, pseudo-archaeology. We have a lot of readers' finds. We have Project Oak Island, which we were working on mainly last year through multimedia here, there and everywhere. We have a news section, which basically anything that we publish automatically produces on the news section. Now, we did used to do it automatically go into Facebook, but they've changed the settings. It now only goes on to Twitter. So if you follow us on Twitter, you'll get all the news coming through that whenever we publish an article, that'll come straight through. We have a media section, which introduces people to different YouTubers that we've worked alongside and we've promoted. A massive identifications library. PDFs, which includes all the back issues of our magazines, the Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine paper version. Luke's got 3 to send over. He's been a bit busy and his computer died, so we'll get to uploading the 3 from this year. We have links as well, so obviously anything you want to know, pop on there. As I say, you'll find anything. The Facebook page itself, we have now nearly 15,000 followers on there, so there's daily information, masses and masses of information that go through there. We publish lots of different news articles, from historical to peculiar in some cases. We also have Mr. Tim Levine. Every morning gives us a what's going on in this day in history. We have Lee Hull, who takes some fantastic images, and he publishes the image on the site with some information regarding the history of whatever the photograph is taken of. And we also have Mr. Tombo Brew, who also puts on some articles as well as me and Luke. So that's just a shout out and thanks to everybody who's helped us and obviously helps us in the future, and what you can see and where you can see it. John, are you ready for number 5?
Yes, I've got that name. Right, and now for an ORX again. The next name out of the hat, and only one on the database as well, is a Mr. Stephen Gilson. That's Mr. Stephen Gilson, and that's spelled Gilson.
So the winner of prize number 5, the ORX, is Mr. Stephen Gilson. For those listening on the watch party, what's it called, Luke?
Vidcast.
Vidcast.
I don't know if I made that word up, but that's what I've been calling it.
Yet.
Vidcast.
That's new technology.
It might not even be called a vidcast. I've got no idea. I just kind of thought that's what it's got to be called.
Well, it is now. So congratulations there again. If you could let know, that would be great. The other, obviously, page that we have on Facebook, we have an Archaeology and Metal Detecting magazine Facebook group where obviously people chat, metal detecting, put images on and such like. So that's obviously more of a community-based thing. Additionally, obviously, we have the big metal detecting podcast page where you can get all updates on what's going on in the show, and obviously we put links onto past shows and what have you. Easier to find. Obviously, it's people. There's so many people, Luke, who actually don't know what a podcast is.
Yeah, in the UK there is definitely, yeah, definitely. That's what I was saying to you, Dave. I think we need to change the name to the Big Metal Detecting Radio Show.
I think that's what'll happen in the new year, Luke. I think that's a fantastic idea. The other thing as well, for people who are listening or who on the vidcast, see, got it right. If you do pop onto the Spreaker page where obviously we do the show from, you can actually log in via Facebook. It's nice and easy. It's like any little app that goes through Facebook, and you can follow the show. Therefore, you'll get a notification whenever a show's going live. Also, and I should have mentioned this at the start of the show, and I do apologise, if you are on the website or on your phone, on the media player, which will say the NCMD Christmas draw, there's a little chat bubble, and the chat bubble obviously enters you into the chat room so you can chat there. So,
yeah, absolutely. I'm actually just pulling. I'm going to try and pull that up to a screenshot now, and we can, because the show, generally speaking, is Dave hosting with a guest. It's not just myself and Dave rambling on every week. So I'll pull up on the screen. We can have a look at some of the guests that we've had previously on the Big Podcast Network. So we have had Tony Carwood, of course, is a Rutus Alta 71 user. We've had Pete Terrell, Mark Thompson, who the gold ring. What was the story behind that gold ring? It's
basically,
on auction day.
he was on a find a field dig near Newark. Although the media suggests that it was Sherwood Forest, it wasn't. It was possibly the old where the Sherwood Forest reached in the historical terms, and he found a ring with an icon of the baby Jesus on it, a cherub baby Jesus type thing, and on the other side there was something else that actually went to auction a couple of weeks ago, and do you know, was it 35,000 it reached at Christie's auction? So obviously that was split up. They'll take their chunk, and then that'll be split between finder and landowner. So congratulations to Mark on that.
Absolutely.
Scott and Kibby DeBay, Addicted to Bleeps, Dilek from
Dr. Macro.
Mine went blank then. Mike Smith, numerous other people, plus obviously
Mike Smith was obviously the finder of the Celtic Chariot in Wales, so he was a really we had him on the All Metal Mode UK podcast as well. Mike Smith, and we great guest, and obviously just hugely historical find.
Brilliant. Historical in the sense of history changing for South Wales, definitely in that area.
No, absolutely, yeah. And then obviously we debuted with the podcasts at Detectival, and the debut was at Rodney Cook. Actually, Gary Cook's Rodney Cook rally was the debut, wasn't it?
If you do get to listen through the podcast, you'll find that we've got to this point by making I've made lots of mistakes. At Rodney Cook, I've done a show and forgot to put the microphone on, so that was a half an hour down the drain. A couple of weeks
remember that one, actually. Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I actually put the Spreaker on silent, and nobody could hear the conversation. Well, I think it was one-sided, actually. I put myself on silent, but we've got to this point now, and it will improve again. Obviously, sound quality now with the preamp and whatnot, we've got that more or less perfect. So, and I can actually hear this week because I remembered the best way to deal with my sound issues. John, are you ready for number 6?
Yes, I am. Now, the winner is David Morris. What I will do is I will say he's from Wales because I have found 2 so far. I'm still going through the list of all the Morrises on my database. So there's at least 2 David Morrises on the database, but this one is from Wales.
So congratulations, that's David Morris from Wales. John's still going through the database of other Dave Morrises, if any, but there's 2, but this one is from Wales. So congratulations there to David Morris. Luke, I'm just going to give a bit of a shout out to some of the people on the chat on Spreaker site. Aaron of South Coast Detecting now. If you look for South Coast Detecting on YouTube, he's got a YouTube site. That's Brad again. He's got a YouTube channel. Tony Kaywood, that's TC Detect. Stephen Pettican. Remind me, Stephen, what your is it Stephen Pettican on YouTube that your site is? Scott and Kimmy DeBay, who are I forgot what your I give you the mention DeBays, but I forgot bloody
Dirt Diggers UK, and actually I do have to give them a shout out for tonight as well with regards to the vidcast, because I was getting to the stage of throwing my PC out the window until Scott DeBay came winging in with the answers that we needed to make tonight possible. So thanks, big thank you to you, Scott, for your help. Much appreciated as always, my friend.
Definitely. Where was I? I'm scrolling through. There was another one I spotted then. Pete Terrell, obviously. Pete from Leisure Promotions. Divi Detectorist. He's got a YouTube channel as well. So, thanks to everybody, each and every one of them for... Don Titchin, Jetski John. Another old friend of mine and his partner. I mean, mine's gone blank again, What's her YouTube channel called? John, tell me what a YouTube channel is. It's going to be mine. Jackie, I can't remember what the YouTube channel is. Jackie Smith. Is it Jackie Smith Detect?
That's it, Jackie Smith. Yeah. That's it, yeah.
So I do apologise. Yeah. My mind's gone blank tonight. I've got so many things I have to remember. And John and Jackie are very old friends from when I was running the Merrill metal detector in rallies up in Rochdale a few years ago. One of the other people on there, I've lost his name again. AT Prozac. I'm sure AT Prozac has a YouTube channel as well. So give them all a look, and I'm sure you'll find that. Oh, Gary Keith from SS History Hunters. Obviously, how do I forget that? John 316 UK, a good friend of mine, John, who actually a couple of weeks ago he said, "Did you pass me?" I said, "Where?" He said, "I was metal detecting in this particular place," and I went, "That's my site." John and me seem to have been metal detecting the same site for a number of years now. So,
and we've got a happy Xmas here from John Milne at the Musketeers Metal Detecting Club.
Thank you very much. Scott DeBay says Detecting Ed is David Edwards. So shout out to each and every one of them, and obviously more to do at the end of the show. Yes, definitely age. It's either age or not having any sleep. To be honest, Kev, last night I had to rush over to Chester to the Countess of Chester Hospital, so I didn't get in till late last night, and I was up at 5:30 this morning for work, so I do apologise. John, where are we, John? Are we there with number 7? Hey, we're doing well here.
We are the ORX, the next one, and we don't have any problems because there's only one on the database, and it's a Mr. Nigel Muldowney.
Nigel Muldowney. Yes, so congratulations, winner number 7 of the ORX is Mr. Nigel Muldowney. There we go. Luke,
I'm still here.
Tell us
Still
about
here. Just got a few people on the vid feed saying they can't hear John, but obviously we did know that was going to be the case tonight, guys. So apologies about that. In the future, you will be able to hear both host, co-host, and guest. But we were aware that was going to be the case tonight.
Yeah, and as I say, this, as we've said, it's just a trial. Also, from some of the other feeds we're doing, some of the YouTube channel, Alex Savage, I can't remember his YouTube channel, but believe me, it's fantastic. Lovely lad. I've got all the good words in the world to say about him. One of his videos, or some of his videos, who's actually part of an archaeological team who were present at Pompeii, and he was given permission to do some filming there. So give him a look up. Hopius Maximus, Keith Brown. We met him at Detectable. We done a small interview with him as well, didn't we?
We did. Yeah. That was over at the. I think that was over at the Regton store, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. And I'll give a shout out as well to Adrian Gaylor's on there as well. Has he got a YouTube channel?
Well, Adrian, I'm not sure if he's got a YouTube channel, but Adrian's obviously a really big advocate of the Rutus brand, and Adrian's actually one of the guys that I would really like to get back onto a podcast as a future guest. I think he was either on, I can't remember, it was the Global Detection Adventures podcast or All Metal Mode UK, but we've definitely had Adrian Gaylor on one of our shows before, but he's a very, very, very knowledgeable guy. He's a really good guest. Be well worth getting on the big podcast as well, I think.
And also Team Rutus UK.
Yes, he's a member of Team Rutus UK, yes, as am I myself.
Another person I want to give a shout out to is Ken Sampson as well. Ken supported us from the very start. Unfortunately, we could have hit some copyright boundaries, but Ken provided me with hundreds of PDFs way back when we started. So big shout out to Ken from, I think it's History Hunters. Ken's up in Dundee, and fantastic help in the past as well. I'm trying desperately to get Alex Savage on the show, and I keep bugging him. I don't know why he keeps dodging me, though, but I will get him on one day, because I really do want the public to listen to the Pompeii information, because that was startling of what he actually did there. It was great.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And I mean, other people, I think, there's lots and lots of people I'd love to get back on the podcast, but I think still kind of top on my list and top on a lot of listeners' lists. Who do you think I'm going to say, Dave?
Mr. Julian Evan Hart.
Julian Evan Hart, absolutely. So if you're listening, Julian, editor of Treasure Hunting Magazine, we need to get you here on the Big Metal Detecting podcast.
Or Lisa, if she's listening, she can tell him. Or anybody else can bug him to be a member, be a guest. Because
start messaging Julian Evan Hart and telling him he needs to come on the Big Metal Detecting. Let's see how many messages we can send him.
Yeah, bombard him. Because it's not just about who we want to get onto the show, it's about who you would like to hear. So if anybody would like to be on the show, or even if you would like to write an article, put an article together and have it published on the website or in the magazine, which obviously we'll look at in the future, please get in contact with myself or Luke via Facebook or via the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine website. John, number 8.
Right, okay. Again, unfortunately, we have got two of this name on the database. The winner of an Equinox 800 is John Kettle. Now, all I will say is this John Kettle is from Staffordshire.
Ooh, that's close to me. I probably work with him, knowing my luck. So John Kettle is winner number 8 of the Equinox 800. So congratulations, John. Do you know, Luke, how interesting and how small a world it is? Now, for anybody who doesn't know what the Leek Frith Talk Hoard is, it was a number of gold talks that were found in Leek in Staffordshire by a chap. Mine's gone blank again. Somebody else will tell me. Mark Hambleton. It was Mark Hambleton who was with him, and he part finder, but it was Joe. Mine's gone blank, but at least I got Joe. Kenny
Joe,
Kania.
I can't
Joe
remember his
Kania.
surname. He's that's it. Yeah.
So
Yeah, lovely guy, but doesn't like going on
doesn't
camera,
like
does
the
he?
role.
No.
Mark's fine with doing it, but it was interesting that when I got to work the day after I found out, I was telling somebody in work, and he went, "I know Joe." I said, "You what?" He said, "I know Joe. You know Joe." "How do I know Joe?" Now, I work for a company called JCB, which I'm sure each and every one of you have heard of, and I work in the hydraulic business unit. Next door in the backhoe unit works Joe. So I was quite gobsmacked at that, and obviously I didn't actually know him. I'd not met him, but finally met him at Rodney Cook Memorial, and such a small world because he knows all the different people that I know from work as well. So brilliant.
That'd be another great guest, to be honest, Dave. To get on, Mark Hamilton.
Mark will come on anytime.
I'm sure he. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can get some images of the Leek Thrift Hoard up for those listening on the vidcast. But if you're not, just Google it. The Leek Thrift Hoard, fantastic, amazing
Awesome
discovery.
I've seen it in the flesh as well at the Stoke Museum, and stunning. Thanks to John Titchin for coming on tonight, John. I'll give you a PM if you win, no problem there. Where are we now? John, are you with us for number 9?
Yes, I can give you number 9 now. The winner of an auction, and I knew this was going to happen to me at some point.
It's me, isn't it?
My apologies if I pronounce this name wrong. It's Mr. Yusel Salihoglu.
Now, you've actually broke up on me a little bit there, John, so I didn't actually hear that, so I presume listeners would have also had an issue.
My apologies if I give the name out wrong, or pronunciation of the name wrong. It's Yusel Salihoglu.
You've gone all Norman Collier on me now.
Yeah, we're really struggling to hear you now, John.
Right, okay.
You're back. You're back. Yep,
right,
you're back.
Good. Right. Like I say, apologies if I mispronounce his name, but it's Mr. Yusel Salihoglu.
How do you pronounce that? How Yusel?
It's Yusel, Yucel.
Yucel. Yusel.
Yep. And SALI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
HOG.
Yeah.
LU.
That's
LU.
nothing like I had written down when you originally said it.
Yusel Salihoglu. I'm sorry, I absolutely massacred your name there, my friend. But yeah, Yusel Salihoglu. At least we know that's going to be the only one.
It is the only one.
So yeah. So well done, Yusel.
I'm just going to write that down on the comments on the Spreaker page so people can either communicate with Yusel or give us a better pronunciation, because obviously it's one of them names that unfortunately we're going to struggle with. So Yusel Salihoglu.
That's it. Yeah.
It's probably a lot of those are silent letters in there. It will probably be something simple after that.
Yeah. Tim Levine says, I think you spell it Tim Levine.
That'll be the one, yeah. Never misses a trick.
I think Mr. Tyrrell's trying to play a little joke or a little jape on us here. He's asked me to pronounce it again. He can't read it. Can I read it, Dave? It's Yusel Salihoglu. There you go. So, where should we go now?
We have Mike Jones. Sorry, not Mike Jones. We have Sam Bernard just asking who are the winners so far again, Dave. So obviously we've been going for probably an hour odd now. So I think there's a few people that have joined on, who may have missed some of the earlier winners.
Yeah, no problem. First prize for the Orcs was David Owen. Second prize for the Knox, Mark Fawkes. For another Orcs, Chloe Riley. a Knox, Steve Clifford, Orcs, Steve Gilson, a Knox, Dave Morris, an Orcs, Nigel Muldowney, a Knox, John Kettle, and an Orcs, Ucel Sally Hoglu, I hope. So there we are.
We're there. So what? How many is that? Is that 8?
That's 9. We've got one winner left.
It's 9.
So
one left to go.
Yes. We haven't mentioned South Coast Rallies. That's your other group. Tell people about that, Luke, for us.
It is, yeah. So we're out every Sunday. Our group. So we have a good lot of regulars that come out with us most weeks. We've had some great finds. We've had lots of hammered coins up, some Roman coins, but it's a great community of detectorists, and we do things a little bit differently to a lot of other groups. So we don't charge a kind of membership, a yearly joining fee. It's the £20 pay on the day, but you also get free lunch. So we're a little bit different. You pay your £20, but you get a free lunch. So we had my good friend Niall Bailey. You know Niall, Dave, don't you?
I do, yeah.
Trying his hand at being a chef, cooking hot dogs last week. So I think it's a good thing there's a week in between rallies, because people probably had a bit of a chance to from Niall's cooking.
I haven't mentioned something, and I can segue brilliantly into this now. Did you have any beer there at all?
No.
So you didn't have any of Yvonne London Marchant's awesome beer?
See, Yvonne's beer, I would, yes, absolutely. And I think we need to go into partnership with Yvonne, Dave. Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine Ale, hammered ale.
It's actually a thing. Last year, this September at the Rodney Cook Memorial Rally, we were asked by Yvonne, would we like some Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine ale, and she brewed it and she brought it up, and we sat in the tent, and I think the first night where I wasn't there, the Friday night, Luke was in a bit of a state off her ale.
Lies.
And when I come down the next day, obviously she'd kept some, and then for the next week, she brewed a Team Rutus ale as well. So Rutus were very complimentary of her ale. So I know she's looking at potentially expanding into doing it a little bit more. So keep an eye out for Yvonne London Marchant's ale.
Microbrewery, yeah,
highly recommended.
We actually gave Wyola and Eric of Rutus a whole keg of Yvonne's ale at Detectival. And I've not heard of from either one of them since. So, no.
Scotty B.
Very, very well brewed, Yvonne.
How can we describe Scotty B? Knee high, maybe.
Oh, be careful.
Scotty B. He's not the tallest of people. We love him to bits. And he also partook in the ale and was in no fit state the next day. In fact, I think his actual detectable last day state was the worst I've seen anybody, when he asked me to get him up at 8 o'clock, which I did, and 7 hours later he can't remember.
By rocking the camper van in the morning.
Actually, if you remember, we actually filmed how I woke him up. Do you remember filming it?
Yeah. I wouldn't put it on Facebook, but I do remember, Dave. I think you're lucky.
We did.
I think you're lucky you didn't have a prosecution, Dave, for that. To be perfectly honest, but there we go. There is a name for that type of thing. But we shall.
So the other thing about your rallies as well, I think, if I'm forgive me if I'm wrong, Luke. Next week, you're actually going to do some form of competition, which will give a Christmas present to somebody to win for a free rally for your event.
No, it's not this coming. No. We're not going to do that. This would be the first time I've actually announced it. So not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after. We're actually going to give someone on our rally, on our Christmas dig, the chance to find a hoard, because we're going to bury one. So we're going to bury £100 coins in a pot in the field. And what we're going to do is we're going to rope that area off. Usually our digs finish at about 4 o'clock. So around about 3 p.m, we'll take those ropes away and we'll let all the guys onto that area so they can all head out and attempt to find that £100 hoard that we will have buried in the field for them. So it'll be a nice Christmas bonus for one of the detectorists that attends for the day. But we might put it under a couple of horseshoes or something, so there's a bit of an element of trickery involved in that as well. But yes, there absolutely will be £100 coins buried in a pot in our rally, which will be on what date will that be? My PC's running so slowly. So it will be on Sunday the 22nd.
Yeah.
Sunday the 22nd, yeah, we will have £100 hoard.
But you give
as well as obviously
we were looking at
some really nice finds as well.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago we gave away a free dig at one of your rallies, and you were looking at doing that again at some point. So are we doing that in the new year?
Yes, yeah, we'll do that every week. So we will do that. We'll do that every single week. We'll give away one free ticket every week on the podcast. But we could do that for any group, Metal Detectives, UK History Finders, Find a Field. Any of you guys, if you want to get involved in the vidcast and the podcast, we would happily, mention your upcoming digs and etc. If you would be prepared to essentially raffle a free ticket. To one of your digs.
So, for instance, Scotty B, if you want to run a competition in the background, for instance, where we've done things in the past where the first person to answer a question, then you can give them a free dig at one of your up-and-coming North of Tyne events. Same goes for Find a Field, Metal Detectives, anyone like that. If you want to do that, contact ourselves. We'll work through it. It won't be a problem. It doesn't cost us anything. It's only going to cost you the price of one person on the day. So, keeps everybody happy, and it keeps the subject, the hobby, going up and up. So
absolutely, yeah.
So over to John again.
I think we've got Gary Smith in the chat now. I think we've got Gary Smith in the chat there. Hello, Gary.
Which one's that? Is that your one or my one?
I don't know. Have you got your own Gary, Dave?
No, you're on the live video feed. So you've got him on the video feed.
No,
you're on the video feed. I'm on the Spreaker feed.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So let's go over to John for the last winner and John's last words, and then we'll run through them again. John?
Right, yes, I'm here. Right, the last one is Robert Lapworth.
Robert Lapworth.
Robert Lapworth, yes, and he wins an ox. And at this point in time, congratulations to all the winners. And I'd also like to wish all our members that are listening at the moment, and all the members that aren't, if you want to pass it on, a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Yes, definitely, John. So not just obviously to members who are listening, because we have a lot of people from different countries listening, but from the NCMD and from ourselves, a fantastic festive period and a healthy and happy New Year. Obviously, we're doing more of that, but that's from the NCMD. Happy Christmas to yourselves. I've only repeated that, John, obviously for the videocast people. So. Just to run down on the winners, John, David Owen with an ORX, Mark Fawkes with a Knox, Chloe Riley with an ORX, Steve Clifford with a Knox, Steve Gilson with an Orcs, David Morris with a Knox, Nigel Muldowney with an Orcs, John Kettle with a Knox,
correct.
Sell Sally Hoglu with an Orcs. And finally, Robert Lapworth with a Knox.
Correct.
So all them names will be published on the National Council for Metal Detecting Facebook page, I take it, after obviously you've communicated with them privately to arrange getting them shipped out to them, etc. And then hopefully you're going to come back in the near future when they've all got their, obviously, metal detectors and hopefully some photographs with them using it, etc., just to to show everybody that they've got them and everything's cool and groovy.
Yes, I'll certainly come back. As I say, just give us a couple of days to contact those people because, of course, some of them might not be listening, and it's better that they're contacted first before we do any publishing of anything. So I'll contact them tomorrow, hopefully, and let them have the good news and get them posted off to them, and they will receive them before Christmas.
Fantastic. On behalf of all the members, John, obviously, thank you to the NCMD for doing this tonight. And especially on the winners' behalf, I'm sure they'd like to thank you publicly as well. I'll do that for them on their behalf. Obviously, I think we've only got David Owen who's listening, but I know he was quite excited to be the winner of an Orcs anyway. So brilliant, fantastic. And I hope it's worked on your behalf coming on the show and doing this tonight, John.
Yes, it's been an honour. I've really enjoyed it, and hopefully I'll speak to you again in the near future.
You certainly will in the next couple of days. No, John. You don't need to go. You can stay on for a little bit. Obviously, me and Luke are going to we'll be ending the show shortly. What we tend to try and do is set the show for around an hour. Luke and I have chatted over the past week, and he said some of the past editions of the show we've ended maybe a little bit early, so we can go on until such point as we feel like in the future, no doubt, Luke.
Yeah, I think between an hour and a half is probably about right. But one thing, just while I remember, Dave, I did just want to say to people listening with the podcast. You can, all of those episodes that we spoke to you about earlier, you can go onto Spreaker and you can actually download those very easily over your home Wi-Fi to your mobile phone. And then the way generally I tend to listen to the podcasts is I download them to my phone and then I listen to them on my morning commute on my way to work. Just link it to the Bluetooth in the car. So there's what 20 odd episodes there. There's a lot of listening there and a lot of really, really good guests and really good metal detecting talk. So I think it's a must really, or maybe save them for when you're on your way out to your Sunday rally. What better way to?
Well, when you're off work the next couple of weeks over Christmas, and you get bored with watching cartoons on TV, and the kids are in a way, go upstairs and listen to the podcast.
Or just put them on while you're eating your Christmas dinner. The family will love it.
Force the kids to listen to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's multiple ways you can listen. As I said earlier, you've got Spotify, you've got iTunes, iHeartRadio. We are in negotiations with 2 actual radio stations, which this will be going on their... it's a digital radio stations. This will be going on their playlists, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to set it for around an hour so it fit in with their schedule. But one of them was giving us an open schedule. We can have as much time as we want. As I say, iHeartRadio, Spotify. There's multiple ways you can listen. So I don't use iTunes or anything like that, so I wouldn't know how that works. But I'm presuming it'll be much the same as everything else. But yeah. There you go. That's basically it covered, more or less, Luke.
Definitely, yeah. Who have we got next week, Dave? Do we know yet? Or
yes, next week we've got Mr. Aaron Weedle, South Coast Detecting, and hopefully, one of his friends will be coming along with him. If you're still listening, Aaron, can you give me the nod that you know what I'm on about? He's not come back yet.
No, he sounds as a pound. He'll do it.
Yeah, no, he's trying to drive.
For those of you that don't know Aaron Weedle, this guy, I've never been envious of another man's voice until I heard Aaron Weedle. It's a nice voice, Dave, isn't it? Like, who's the guy? Matt, who's the guy that did a Toast of London? Someone Berry, the TV series. I'll try and see if I can find it.
Yeah, Aaron knows exactly who I'm on about. I think Aaron could actually open the show next week.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
John, are you still there, perchance, John?
I am, yes.
Pete Terrell's asked me to ask you, Can you tell him about your trip to Blackpool Beach?
Well, yeah, right. With Pete, yeah, lovely rainy day. Couldn't have been better. We filmed Don't Tell the Bride. I asked Pete if he'd come along and do some filming. He did most of the filming. He was very good. He buried an invitation to the girl's own wedding in the Sandhills, and they all gave up. None of them would do any detecting, so we had to take it to one side and say, look, we need to do a bit of detecting on this part of the Sandhills. And eventually she found it, so we dug it up in the tin, and inside it was the invitation to her own wedding. But Pete did a great job. I had nothing to do with it.
Did Pete end up with a metal detector wrapped around his neck at all?
Oh, he brought all the metal detectors. He brought about, I think he had to bring about 6 metal detectors down and shovels and everything. We had them all lined up, and they all turned up in this van, and we had to film them walking towards us. And then when they saw the metal detectors, their hearts just.
This actually explains why Pete is so adverse to marriage. Obviously,
yeah. It was a fun day. The only problem was it couldn't have been worse because it had been raining all night. It wasn't too bad when we were filming, but it was still very, very windy and a very grey, coldish day. Yeah.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up the show now. Have you got any last bits, Luke?
No, only that it's called The Toast of London. Not a Slice of Toast, the TV series, and it's Matt Berry. That is who Aaron Weedle sounds like. Matt Berry.
Still never heard of him.
But no, it's been a pleasure, and thank you very much, John, top man.
Yeah, it's been fantastic, John. Have you got any last bits to say, John?
Yeah, just once again, Merry Christmas to everybody at the podcast, and you and Luke, and thanks for having us on here. It's been an honour, as I say, and congratulations to all the winners. Commiserations to the people that didn't win anything. But as I say, it's our 40th anniversary next year, so there'll be bits and pieces, there'll be other things going on, and hopefully they'll all stay members. And as I say, every member, renewal or new member next year, as soon as we get the badges, we'll get a patch in the post or via their club.
Brilliant. And we hopefully, well, we know we'll be doing something ourselves in regards to the 40th anniversary of the NCMD next year. But that information we're going to keep for now. So just a shout out again at the end of the show to the people that we normally give a shout out to. The DeBays, Find a Field, Tony Kaywood. Please have a look for the Archaeology and Metal Detecting Magazine website, the Facebook page, the Facebook group, Twitter and Instagram, the All Metal Mode UK and Big Metal Detecting Podcast Facebook page. Thank you to Treasure Hunting Magazine, Leisure Promotions, Regtons, North of the Time Metal Detecting Club on Facebook, South Coast Detecting on YouTube, Metal Detecting Media Facebook, Southeast Metal Detecting Rallies, Steve Petterkin, and everyone else who's listening. So just before we go... And the Metal Detectives, of course. I keep having to add to this. You see, I'm going to have to laminate it and keep going. Just to finish, I will read again the winners for tonight from the NCMD raffle. And what we're going to do, we're going to end with a song that was recorded by the legendary 10 Seconds called A Metal Detectorist Song. So, first prize for the Orcs was David Owen. The Knox, Mark Fawkes. The Orcs, Chloe Riley. The Knox, Steve Clifford. The Orcs, Steve Gilson. The Knox, David Morris. The Orcs, Nigel Muldowney. The Knox, John Kettle. The Orcs, Yusel Sally Hoglu. And the Knox, Robert Lathworth. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Please come back next week and keep looking out for us in the future. Thank you, each and every one of you. Good night.
which are so old, such fine detail to behold. They were dropped so long ago, by whom they were lost we will never know.
My gold stater of the Dubonnet tribe, the thrill of finding it I can't describe. 2,000 years lost in the ground, such a precious thing that I have found.
Look at these coins which are so old, such fine detail to behold. They were dropped so long ago, by whom they were lost we will never know.
This Roman coin found on a farm, a festina denarii, has so much charm. It was in Persia or in Worcestershire, there in a field in the mud and mire. I'm metal detecting tomorrow. If it's a good one, I'll let you know. To find a hammered coin would be great, then a hammy dance to celebrate. Another coin I can show to you is dated 1682. It's the best one I've found so far this year. The king's head on it is so very clear.
Look at these coins which are so old,
such fine